Welcome to Rolling the Dice, the friction between faith and chance. This week's episode of the Faith and Friction podcast. Join Mac and his co-host, The Rev, as they delve into a provocative question. Is faith itself a gamble? Investing belief in the unseen carries a semblance of risk. This conversation doesn't look to offend, but instead encourages introspection about the nature of faith and where we place it. Welcome to the conversation.
Oh boy, one more time. We're going to cause some friction, Rev. What do you think, man? Welcome today.
One more time, two more times, three more times, whatever it takes to get growth, to get an evolution. I'm all up for it.
Let's rub some things together and create some.
And I've got firsthand experience about our topic tonight, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I might share a little bit about that.
Yeah, good. No, this is going to be a little off the wall. For most
It's
folks,
out there. It's a little detour.
It is. But that's okay. I think we tend to talk about things, a specific thing that we're talking about. And at the same time, we do our best to try to broaden it now to say it's really bigger than that. We're using that.
Yeah, no,
as
some
example.
people might accuse me anyway. Oh, you're playing it too safe. You need to hone in more. Maybe we will today. I don't know.
Interesting topic.
What are we going to hone in on
Here's
tonight?
what we're going to talk about. And most of us won't really go there. Let's talk about the friction that is. Most people might not even think it is, but there's friction between our spirituality, faith, and gambling. I wonder people out there.
No, religious people don't gamble.
What are we
right?
talking about here?
Spiritual people don't gamble, do they?
What's the big deal? Of course. So, but it's an interesting study to say what could be, because we're probably going to bring some things up, I think, in this conversation that people probably didn't even think about, right? And it's just an awareness level.
Let me put something out there at the risk of a bunny trail out of the gate. Is religion itself a gamble? Is faith itself a gamble? I'm putting my faith in something I haven't seen, as St. Paul talks about.
Yeah.
Things not realized yet.
Yes.
Is that in itself a gamble? Now, I know that's probably offensive to somebody out there listening.
Yeah. Well,
but is faith. Where do you put your faith? Does it matter? Is it my job to meddle? And I don't know.
How about this? Just you saying that is virtually anything that's not certain, and how many things are, but let's just say, is everything that's not certain to some degree a gamble?
Yeah. Is life itself a gamble? I get in the car every day. And I get behind the wheel of a car and I'm on the freeway with a bunch of other people. That in itself is a gamble. It's not certain. People next to me, left or coming the other direction, are going to obey the rules and obey the laws. So it's not certain.
No.
So there is a bit of a gamble in that as well.
And again, you might not think of that necessarily as that's a gamble. And then we roll to something like gambling, and we can have all different kinds of connotations about that.
Sure.
What we're trying to have is both and.
And
right?
where both and for me it lands is conscious and unconscious gambling.
Yes.
Conscious or unconscious faith or risk, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Stay awake. This is what I teach from my platform. Stay awake. Don't fall asleep.
There we go.
So be mindful. Be very mindful of what you're doing at any given moment.
And there's a subtlety involved with most things, because the outright blatant things, most of the time, whether it's not ourselves, it'd be somebody else that are going, what? What are you doing? What are you thinking? But it's those subtleties. That doesn't connect to that. Why should I think that if I do A, that D gets affected by it? I don't see it that way. And maybe sometimes.
Well, I know, the D could be my child. D could be my spouse. Really, they're going to be affected.
Correct.
Conscious or unconscious in what I'm doing and where I'm investing money. And I know that when I'm driving the car, I tend to take more risks. When I've got kids in the car, I'm way more careful.
There you
and
are.
I think because it does affect them. So when it comes to gambling, boy, the effect is not just localized at the point of view. Other people are affected.
This is exactly right. And so now, instead of gambling, let's take that one out of the equation. Let's put a bunch of other stuff in there, whatever it might be, but there's always the ripple effect, positive and negative. I mean, I'm not saying there's only negative, right? So let's define some of the characteristics of gambling. All right, here we go. I'm gonna just give you the definition, and we'll call about in a court of law.
Hear you. Okay.
There it is, the basis. Gambling is defined as involving 3 necessary elements.
Number one,
a consideration, such as money. You have to give something to get. All right.
All
So
right,
the
so a
slot
sacrifice
machine,
of some kind, perhaps.
slot machine, you put the quarter in or
Yep.
whatever it is, the token. All right. You have to give a consideration is given for the right to participate. Okay.
Sounds like a video game too.
Sure. All right. Whatever it might be. Yeah. All right. A game is used in which the outcome depends largely upon chance. There's the gamble, right?
There's where my religious folks will say the difference between faith and chance. There's a big difference.
All right. Okay. And then last 3, there's got to be a prize. You've got to be some amount of cheer at the end, the check, the this, the that, the big stuffed animal, whatever it might be. Okay. There are those 3.
The big stuffed bear at the fair. I just spent $40 to win.
Yeah, it was a big gamble.
That was worth $2.
Trying to get the ring around the pop bottle, right? So anyway, those are the 3 components that make up what we consider a gamble.
Okay.
All right, gambling. And I think there's a distinction between a gamble that, like you were talking about, you take life is a gamble, but we're not necessarily going out there and rolling a dice to say, what's my immediate return off of this? I think there can be metaphorical applications to it all
Point
around.
taken.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about just some of the questions that come up when you think about gambling. Are we talking about luck? Is it just the luck of the draw, right? To some degree, people can look at it that way. And I think when you do, or is it just fun? Are we just 4 guys out there on a golf course and we're betting about who gets closest to the pin?
Sure.
Or
And I think, again,
whatever.
the difference in this equation is going to be conscious or unconscious, awake or asleep.
Well,
I go into a casino and I'm going to go play slots and I give myself X amount of dollars. When I hit that loss, that's when I stop. That
Right.
takes consciousness. Unconsciousness says, I hit my number, but I'm feeling lucky. Let me do it again. Let me put another $50 on there and another $50. That's where I go unconscious.
or the flip side that says, I just lost. I got to keep putting it in there till I make it back.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm going to hit it. I'm going to get it back.
Yeah.
No, if I'll have my $50 and I don't spend a dime over that,
Yeah.
I have to go into that room conscious.
See, here's what I want to dispel right now.
Yeah.
Good point. Are we sitting here, and the answer I'm already say is no. Are we trying to sit here and say gambling is bad? We're not going there.
Nope.
All right. That's not what this conversation's about. We're not trying to imply or point a finger, because I want to talk about, some will look at it as a moral thing. Some will look at it as a sinful thing, depending upon where you're coming from. And we're not going to take that in this conversation, just knowing you, I'm speaking for you. We want to talk about the reality of how does the consciousness and how does the faith grid and run through all of this.
Right.
So we put it in its proper perspective, just like anything else in life, right?
Perspective. Everything comes down to perspective.
There you go. So we've got a risk and reward. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to risk X for an anticipated amount of reward. So let's take a lottery ticket. I'm going to risk $5 on some sort of a return that I might throw my hat in the ring over. All right. Now, you look at odds on that, and they're insane for the most part. So that's a speculative gamble at best that you're just, for the most part, hoping a prayer.
So now, at the risk of being demonized, put that out there.
Go ahead.
Is that a model that works at church as well? For eternal life, the payoff, you have to give us money. And I'm not saying every organization does that, but there is the risk. You're going to give us a minimum of 10% of everything you earn. You're investing in something with the idea that you're going to have eternal life, or you're going to be in good favor in your church.
Or you're going to, not only the church, you're going to be in favor with God.
Oh, there you go.
See, let's take it to the highest level. It's the tit for tat thing. I call it the gumball God, gumball machine God, where we expect to be, and this prayer gets into this and a lot of other stuff. Okay.
But the guy sitting at the blackjack table is also praying.
Oh,
a lot.
Give me that ace.
Yeah.
Come on, let me fill it. So To me, that whole example I use of the gumball gun, I'm going to come over,
Yeah.
I'm going to put my quarter in, I'm going to turn the crank, and I'm going to get the gumball. It's this give to get.
Exactly, which
Okay?
I think can constitute, and I have to watch that also. Again, I teach cause and effect all the time, and I have to be real mindful. Giving for the sake of giving is not to get that reward at the, I'm
Right.
just being kind, I'm being generous, I'm being loving. Isn't that enough? Oh, no, you have to sacrifice in order to get something.
Yeah. Interesting. Where my mind just went when you were saying that was, let's go back to my gumball machine. And let's say that there's a sticker on it or a little plaque on it that this is going to the Lions Club to pay, for blind kids or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what is it I'm going to do? I'm going to put it quarter after quarter in that thing if that's where my heart is. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about whether I get a gumball back or not. Okay.
I might be worried about getting a write-off from the Lions Club.
All right.
But you're true. Is you just putting it in.
Not true. All right. And then do I get pissed off at some point because the gumball isn't coming out?
Exactly.
Do I start shaking it?
Where's my W-2?
But again, it's a consciousness thing. I love the way we're grounding it in that. And you came at that in the pre-show, and I thought it was really good. All right. So let's bring morality maybe into this now, right? And when we bring morality, then we also have to, at the same time, I think, talk about spirituality.
Sure.
Because what's the basis for our morality, whether we acknowledge it, whether we're an agnostic or not, whether we're an atheist or not.
It's the best thing that religion has given the planet, some sense of a moral code to keep order.
Okay. A grounding of some sort that gets wrapped up into a religious practice that you can, then the wheels can come off with all of that sometimes, all right? But yes, our morality is based on something, and I would go so far, and I get into these conversations with people. There's innate, either you believe that we are with original blessing. I love that we put on our sign at the
you're
church.
Not born in original sin. You're born in original blessing.
That was beautiful. I drove out of our church today and I saw that. I went, yes. So now if we are born in original blessing, then I would connect the dot that says, therefore, we have built into us that divine nature, talks about the Bible. Okay, we can't lose it.
That'll preach.
The Bible would say we lost that at some point. We had to get it back. All right. So now we have this divine nature, which innately is a moral code that doesn't need to be, I'm going to say, manipulated at some point, not all bad, but now it gets framed through a doctrine, through a theology, everything.
And then again, as a pastor or as a minister, I ask the question, is it my job to lay my moral code over you as a congregant, or is it to help you stay awake, conscious, and connected to that moral code, that divine essence within you, for you to make your own decision? Very different. You need to walk the road I say is good and not good, as opposed to finding it within yourself.
Yeah, there's a big distinction right there, man.
So it gets much larger than gambling. It's lifestyle.
This is exactly what we were saying in the very beginning. Sure, we start out and are focused on gambling, but now here we go. See?
Now, that doesn't mean there's not right and wrong. There is right and wrong, but there's wiggle room there.
There's a sense of this is my grid and how I look at it and how I practice it. And we're all good with that, giving each one the freedom for that. But you're right. There is still a social line you can go over. There's the cultural line.
There's the line. Yeah, we're all good with my grid. My grid's good. My grid. Somebody comes in not okay with my grid, who has a different lifestyle. Now you're going to be punished in hell. You have the devil within you. You have a demon within you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It's the same God essence within all people. And it's up to us to create an environment that's safe enough for us to be in touch. The minute you call somebody a demon or say they're going to hell, you've shut down the conversation of a different idea, a different life, a different way of seeing.
Well, that's a power struggle too, like you talk about all the time, right?
Religion it leads the charge when it comes to power struggle.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, true. So just reel off the top, just quickly, but let's remind everybody that let's put this, there's this word called subtlety. And sometimes we just can't see things that tend to erode our lives because they're so subtle
Yeah.
that we just roll along, and then we at some point sometimes look up and go, what the
How did I
just
get
happened?
here?
Yeah, you know,
Well, yeah, what the hell just happened? It didn't just happen. It's been happening over the last 10 years.
that's exactly right. See, but we don't, we're immune to it. What do we want to say? We're blind to it.
I think unconscious. to
We're
it.
unconscious. We're asleep. All of those words, right? So things like, can it really degrade if we're into getting out? Let me make a statement statistically. We talked about this in the pre-show. Most people don't become addictive to gambling. So we're going to admit that right up front. The guys that are out on the golf course, the people playing poker at home.
They're having a
this or
good
that.
time. It is leisure. It's a fun thing.
It is, okay? That there's a line that gets crossed with people that are weak in that regard. So you can have the total dependency on it and just addiction to it. And then you can swing that pendulum, but the pendulum doesn't swing from way over here automatically to way over here.
No.
It has to go through the arc.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you travel that arc, there's all kinds of degrees up. So there's the subtlety.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I keep coming back to this example because this is on the top of my mind. If I'm going out every Saturday and I'm playing golf with my buddies and we're gambling, now in and of itself, is that going to set off alarm bells? Okay, everyone's just having fun and we're just doing it. But if that
I was going to say, as a family man, if you're going out golfing
There's
every
your-
Saturday, you have a bigger problem.
There's the other part of the whole thing, okay? And so really what you're doing, I would say in that case, is you're gambling
Your family,
your
on the
family
table.
or your wife's good nature or whatever it might
Right.
be. All right, but
Yeah,
that's
that's
let's not
fine.
run. We won't run that
Sorry.
rabbit trail.
Keep
We're
going
gonna
with
squirrel.
this.
Okay. Just understand that there's a subtlety involved with that it can go from the Saturday thing to the online thing to the buying the lottery tickets over. Don't think for a minute
Just a little bit more.
that's
Just
right.
A little bit
that
more.
this thing can't get out of hand and really begin to be a problem.
I remember the one and only time I was ever in Vegas. And I could see how unconsciousness could become very addictive. But I watched a guy at the craps table, and he was throwing out $100,000 chips. I mean, the guy was
Oh, God.
loaded, and I watched him win $500,000. He puffed his cigarette, didn't change his expression. Nothing changed. And then threw out some more, lost $1 million on this table. When maybe it was $1 million to me, it was probably nothing to him. He lost it. Nothing changed in the expression, and he looked dead.
Yeah.
And I had to look, it's all roads lead to me. Where have I gone dead and asleep?
Mm-hmm.
That this kind of habitual thing has just become rote.
That's
And how did he get there? He didn't get there overnight.
Oh, no. But that's a good word. Habitual. And we tend to think of habitual being demonstrative. I drink.
Yeah.
How about habitual? How about I'm habitually ignoring subtleties that over time really have manifested in my life to
Well,
really
I
cause
think
a problem.
one of the purposes of this faith and friction episode is to keep us awake.
Yeah.
I think the human race has been habitually asleep, that we're all a little bit unconscious, and we're looking for things and trying to do things that keep us just stirred up, wake us up a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes people say it's a 2x4. Oh, the guy just lost his shirt and his house and his car in the casino. That's a wake-up call. But sometimes the greatest healing happens as a result of that, because we didn't pay attention to the pendulum that was moving over to the other side. And I'm sleepwalking through life. I'm actually the walking dead. That's how I would contextualize the guy at the crafts table. Walking dead. There was nothing there. And it's like, I wanted to go wrap my arms around him and say, how did you get here? Let's start walking back the other way.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, it would be amazing to just watch something like that happen. But let's go back to the pendulum. Way this way. Going from a disaster to perfection. I'm just going to say,
or to not living life.
Yeah. All right. So I'd like to hope this episode and the way that I've grid a lot of this kind of stuff that we talk about is, if my expectation is elimination, in other words, I'm never going there and doing that again, whatever it might be, right? I don't take that attitude about virtually anything anymore.
And I do have friends.
know?
That's exactly what they had to do.
Yeah.
In 12-step.
12-step
I
is- I get
cannot
that.
go there.
And I get
But
that.
the one who, let's use alcohol as the example, who drinks occasionally, it's not my place to judge them. They shouldn't be drinking.
No,
Not at all, because
You know.
there's degrees there.
But I try to go for a mitigation of a slowing down of a lessening all along the way as I'm, whether it's your anger, whether it's your spendthriftness, whether I'd pick
All of the above.
pick a category that just says, I used to be this way. Now,
Yeah.
I'd love for it to be on the other end of the spectrum too. I used to be pretty hard-hearted. I was an asshole a lot of the time in my life, blah, blah, blah. But you know what?
too.
Wait, this is metaphorical right now. This isn't me. Can I look at my life over the last 5 years, 10, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
and say, I'm just not like that as much as I used to be, and I'm more like that than I used to be on the other side, the
Sure.
good side, the more loving.
Is it progress over perfection?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm moving in the right direction based upon my internal compass and relationship with the divine essence of my very soul. And if somebody's
Exactly.
willing and open, I'm going to be there. I'm going to hold them. I'm going to walk with them. If they're not open, I can push and preach all I want and hit them over the head. It's not going to do any good.
No, I
My
mean,
job is to help them find that internal compass. Ask any alcoholic, which is a gamble when you drink. If they're doing it for you, it's not going to stick. They have to do it for themselves.
that's a super point. And I do understand that, yes, there's certainly times in life where the way to come out of a situation is it has to be cold turkey, just period. All right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing most about, for me, gambling. Okay. It's a zero-sum game, right?
You use that term a lot. Explain what that means.
So what that means is if you and I are going to play poker, we're going to sit here and play, or four of us around the table.
Sure.
All right. At the end of, and we all start with $100. We're playing penny ante poker, whatever we're playing. We all have $100 worth of chips in front of us. All right. We play for the evening. And there's four of us. We started with $400 worth of money at that table. At the end, what do you see?
You still have
A
$400 redistribution of the same 400.
Because somebody won and somebody had to lose. All right. Somebody's $100 got redispersed because somebody won and it took away from me because I'm the loser. So that's what I mean. There's still $100. That's the zero sum. You haven't increased the $100. $100 stayed static. All right. But it comes down to a zero sum that this one -3 adds to this one's +3.
Sure.
That's what zero sum.
So that's a
All
big
right.
distinction between the game of chance or poker and the game of faith. Everybody can win at this table.
It's
So
right.
there is an increase.
Absolutely.
When spiritually grounded and centered, there's an increase. Everybody goes
There's a
home with
limitation. There's no, that's all we got when it comes to the love of God, to love for one another, to all of it. Yes, exactly.
So the odds are better. Everybody can win here.
And-
At least that's what we're told.
yeah, we're told that everybody can thrive, and it's not at anybody else's expense. That's beautiful. I
Those are
love
the games
that.
I love when everybody can win.
Sure, all right. But most of the time when we play games, there's a winner and there's losers.
Yep.
So again,
And that's life. That's life 101.
there you go. So anyway, that's one of the biggest things that I take. It just rubs me the wrong way when it comes to gambling, that we have to take an attitude. And again,
And if you
that
get-
permeates.
It permeates everything. But and again, the game of life, working with this idea, your odds are not so good. There's $400 and there's four guys. Somebody's going to go home with the big pot, and chances of being the loser are greater than being the winner that night.
True.
Unless you have faith in your own abilities. Hey,
There's
some
the
guys I
gamble.
won't play poker with because they're really good liars.
Liar's poker. Oh man, we used to play to the bar. All
Yeah, exactly. So the reality is, it's being mindful. What are the odds here?
Yeah.
Cause and effect. There, I can be perhaps my $10 or my $100. I can invest elsewhere where there's a greater odds that it's going to come back to me and my family. So I'm playing the game of the odds, and I'm asking myself, as I ask my family, be conscious about where you're putting that $100.
There it is. Again, it boils back down to consciousness, doesn't it? And this is a core, I think, of our episode, that how do you weave that consciousness,
Yeah.
conscious of consciousness,
And
whole
again,
equation.
back to the leisure question, I've
Yeah.
had poker games I've played in,
Sure,
and
me
I
too.
lost everything I brought to the table, and I had the time of my life.
Sure.
A community was built, and it was fun, and I was
get it.
conscious about I'm going to sacrifice my $100 tonight to have a great time.
It's
And there's
go to the movies.
nothing wrong with that.
And we're not exactly. We're not saying it's wrong. All I'm saying, and I think we're saying, is don't get caught up in the subtleties of where that could go, might go. What does it change about your worldview?
Right.
What does it change about the view of God? Are you praying to get? Gee, you're like you were saying, am I sitting there at the craps table or at the blackjack table praying that, and if I make money, then it's God's blessing?
Exactly. God's will was for me to win tonight.
Here we are. All right.
It's back to the football games where we thank God if God was on our side tonight, as if God was against the other team or the other three players at the table. That's a bit of a limited view in spirituality of God. And that can become a very addictive gambling habit. God's on my side, so I'm going to play one more time because God didn't pay off this first $100. Now I'm going to put another
I'm learning
100.
its lesson. Okay, God's teaching me.
Yeah. Jeez.
To have patience, right? Or whatever.
Or God might be
justification.
teaching you that this is not the best use of your money or your time.
Yeah, the God laughing type thing.
Yeah. Okay.
It always has its ripple effects too. Our society, to whatever degree, is a product of those ideas and those perspectives of chance, of just rolling the dice. Maybe it'll happen. Now, sometimes that's good because new inventions and
Sure.
and those are gambles because you don't know how they're going to turn
Welcome
out.
to the Shark Tank.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. How I'm doing with my Thai guys down there in Atlanta with the whole entrepreneurial thing. All right. So again, don't get to where you think we're trying to put this in a box. We're just trying to say this has ripple effects all across the spectrum. Be aware. Just be aware, like you're saying, don't
aware.
sleep. And so what can be, we've talked around and already mentioned, but let's just make sure we hit on, as part of this conversation, what are some of the effects of gambling as they swing through
Sure.
that pendulum? So one of the biggies that's documented is mental health. That
Sure.
individuals that do get addicted and that do get caught up in that lifestyle, it's a huge, and it really, the mental health part runs around suicide.
Yep.
When it comes to all of this.
Money is the number one reason for suicide, I think.
Yeah.
Depression from a lack of it or a waste of it.
So there's a huge correlation for people that are, I'm not talking about, again, the guys around the poker table on a Saturday night. I'm talking about people that actually have found themselves addicted to it and can't stop themselves from doing it. All right.
Yeah.
So that is an effect in the suicide rate. It certainly affects relationships. We've already talked about that. How can it not?
Sure.
As it ripples itself down into your sphere of influence, right? So again, be aware. All right.
What do you mean you emptied our shared bank account?
Yeah.
What
right.
did you do that's secretive?
Yes.
When you ask the question, what came first, the mental illness or the gambling? Or does it matter? It doesn't. You have to be careful because if you're not awake, it will affect both at the same time.
Negative effects, right? Minor or major. Maybe it doesn't bankrupt you, but what you've done is you've eroded maybe the trust of your spouse.
Yeah. For kids, I have firsthand experience if my dad took my trust fund and blew it. He had control of it, and now I have no college.
See, there you go. There's a perfect
and it's
example.
not just dad, mom too.
Right there. All right. Your spiritual growth, if you get caught up in this, to whatever degree, how might it affect your willingness, even your ability to some degree to be able to be open enough and receptive enough that you can grow spiritually? Maybe what you do is this becomes more and more and affects you more. Maybe it stifles your spiritual growth. Do you think that's possible? What do you think?
I think if you're not awake, anything and everything can stifle your spiritual growth. Most of the religions that I know and have studied say, keep your mind on God. Let every voice but God's be still in me now. So anything can become an addiction or a distraction to that presence and that power within me and around me.
There it is. There's the ripple effect. There's where we just opened up the umbrella and let the pendulum swing all kinds of different ways.
Yeah. And again, back to the religion and gambling question, it becomes, well, no, I have faith in God. God wants me to prosper. Prosperity gospel, God wants me to prosper. And I'm going to go and I want to keep sitting at this craps table over and over. But God's still going to provide. My faith is not well-founded.
Yeah.
And there might be a better way to implement your faith than at a craps table.
Again, the whole idea of getting something for virtually nothing, totally by chance, is not the way to live life as a grounding.
Yeah.
Again, it might have.
Like again, I'm going to be probably demonized here. Something for nothing. I accepted a person as my Lord and Savior. I don't have to do anything. I'm good. I'm good. I got
good with
heaven.
God.
That's not the God I believe in, one
Right.
personality, but also live your life as a demonstration of the Christ essence. Don't just say, okay, accept the Christ.
I'm
We're
in.
good.
We're done.
I'm in.
Yeah.
You're out.
I read a book one time by these guys, great guys, years and years ago, that said, in that moment, if that's what your faith practice
Right.
teaches you and all of that, and you say, I do,
Yep.
whatever that looks like, they would say, fantastic. That's the starting line.
It is
It
a
ain't
starting line.
finish line.
Show me,
Yeah.
at the risk of being tongue in cheek, show me the money.
Yep.
Show me the actions. Show me the behaviors.
Let me see the fruit of that.
Yeah, exactly. Show
Okay.
me the fruit.
There's an expectation. Let's see what else. All right. So to end, as we wrap up, the last thing let's talk about a little bit is, and we've hit a lot of these things, but let's be pointed about it. What can we do? What are some steps, some things that we can do so that we don't go down this dark hole even a little, that where we shouldn't go?
The pendulum is wanting to go that direction.
Yeah, it's moving, it's swinging. Everything's fine right now, maybe. Okay. But what are the warning signs? What are the things once they start to become a problem that we need to be awake to?
Yes, me, I'm about surround yourself with people who love you enough to be honest and hold
there
you
it is.
accountable.
Great point.
Hey, buddy, I think that this is a slippery slope you're on. Let's talk this through.
Yeah.
I'm on your team, on your side. Let's work this through.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like it's a good slope.
Here's what I see, and I love you.
And again, let's go to the moral compass. A church, group of people with a spiritual belief system, one or the other, it doesn't matter, are going to hold you accountable just to that moral code and go, I'm concerned. I love you enough to tell you the truth.
There's friction.
Sure.
There's friction.
I told the truth a number of times in love, and it really caused friction. And then people have told me the same.
That's what this conversation, that's why we do what we do, to point out the friction. I'm going to say we welcome it because it's a growth avenue for us, but it's also an awakening process to say, I didn't really see friction there when there really is. All right. That's that wake up kind of thing, to be paying more attention. All right?
I'm so grateful for the people in my life that say, hey, Rev, step away from the slot machine, put down the chips and step away from the blackjack table.
See, that's a great
metaphorically,
I get it.
proverbial.
Okay. So yes, a huge thing can be have your tribe, have your people that you have, right? Seek wisdom, seek it in yourself. And like you're saying, seek others. So cultivate the wisdom and the discernment as you grow older. And I don't mean 60 and 70. You can grow older from 34 to 35.
When I was 16, I was older than I was when I was 15. Start it wherever wherever you are, start it.
That's right. I love Bob Dylan's thing. I did a blog post about this years and years ago. I was old, so much older then, but I'm younger than that now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love
I mean, I love that line. All right. The work ethic. Work on your work ethic. Right. Don't expect that if I can do the minimum, I can still reap the benefits of the maximum.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't work that way. And
I put a quarter in the gumball machine, but I want four
gumballs.
Four gumballs, not one.
Again, if you get into a job situation where maybe you're not happy and it's not what you really, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, that you begin then to just time clock it, punch in, punch out, right? Do the minimum. All right. That is not what I would consider a spiritual work ethic, right?
I'm really grateful for my grandparents that didn't put spirituality on top of it, but they taught me the benefit and the power of a good, hard day's work. And you know you earned it. And if I know I've earned it, I don't waste it mindlessly.
Frivolously. Correct. And again, I think Rob Bell, we said this a zillion times, it's all spiritual.
It's true.
So
but if I contextualize the paycheck I just received,
yes,
it is a spiritual gift.
Absolutely.
Not just, okay, it's money. No, it belongs not to me. It belongs to the one, to the universe. And I need to treat it with the respect it is due.
Yes.
That means mindfulness.
Yes. It's currency.
Yeah.
I learned that years and years ago, right?
And then you don't have it on the list here, but diversify. Anybody I've ever talked to about money, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Oh, I'm going to the casino, and that's the basket I'm putting it all in. I'm going to, as your friends say, you might go have some fun, but you better have 4 or 5 other places where you're investing your time, your energy, and your money.
With not quite the level of risk that just rolling dice at a craps table. All right. So there's the diversity. Not only is it different places, but it's also a matter of prudence as well. So you can connect the dots any old way you want all across this spectrum. But I hope this conversation, I love it, because you brought up things to me in this whole realm, but in the greater sense that I hadn't quite read.
Well, I'm really gifted at convoluting the simplest ideas.
Keep convoluting, man. I love it. I hope our listeners love it because, again, this is a weird sort of way to tie together a couple of topics with friction and faith. But I think, why not? Again, have we all been asleep to the fact that this is going on for us? And let's not.
I'm going to be real honest. I said a couple things on this podcast that somebody's going to listen to. It was a gamble for me to say that, especially with the title in front of my name.
Yes.
I want to hear it. I want somebody to let us know. What did you think of it?
Comment on Facebook, share us, like us, or don't like us.
Exactly. Say, I totally disagree.
Yeah.
So I took a gamble. Somebody's going to like it. Somebody's not going to like it. But that's life. Life is going to be a gamble. And if you never, ever risk anything, you don't create anything either.
Welcome to the poker game, brother.
All right. Okay. See you on Facebook or Instagram.
Or hopefully not on the wall at the what is it?
Post office.
Post office. All right, man. Appreciate it. So fun today as always.
I love it. You're just so creative with your topics.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope it brought some value, and we'll do it again next week. Take care.
Amen.